If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, the work, the healing, the mindset, the discipline, and yet there's still something off, this episode is going to hit different. Because sometimes the problem isn't effort, it's alignment.
Welcome to Root Cause Holistic Health. I'm Dr. John Harmon, physician, brain health expert, and your host on this no-fluff journey into whole body healing.
And I'm Tracey Green, wellness coach, mom, and co-host in this space where we get real about what actually heals, not just what's trending.
We're here to help you uncover what's really going on and empower you to take the next step in your healing journey.
Today's guest works in the space most people never think to look. The space between your nervous system, your energy, and the patterns you keep repeating no matter how or where you are. She's built her work around helping people understand how they're actually wired, why forcing themselves into a one-size-fits-all system leads to burnout, and what changes when you finally stop fighting your own design. Her work has helped people all over the world break cycles, find clarity, and move through life with a level of self-trust most people never experience. This conversation is going to challenge how you think about healing, decision-making, and personal power. Dr. Harmon, I'm going to bring you in here to formally introduce our guests and open this conversation.
Thank you very much, Tracey. From the time I went in to see Tami in her office and found out what it is that she does, I was so fascinated because of the things she told me about me that she didn't have any idea about before. And looking back over my generations prior to me, it opened up my eyes to look at things a little bit differently and think of, total spirit, body, energy healing as a combination rather than separate entities and things to heal or treat or get better from. So I want to introduce to you to my friend and a practitioner here in the Boise Eagle area, Tami Reed. Tami, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'd like for you to start out and give us a synopsis, a paragraph or two that describes what your focus is when someone comes in to see you.
My main focus is actually getting people to understand who they really are and stop cloaking themselves and step into alignment. So really understanding where they're holding that misalignment. So is it mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual? And I love using the system Human Design and my energy method that I developed called Harken. And hearken means to listen. And I really honestly believe that our bodies hold a internal physician, and we are really good at storing patterns and files of information, and the body holds the key. And so if we can learn how to really listen to what it's trying to tell us and be able to interpret the messages, I think that we can shift those patterns. I see everything through just a lens of patterns, and we all are born with a certain perception. And if I can shift your then perspective, I can untangle it mentally and then help you shift it emotionally and then be able to release it physically where you've stored it in the body.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
It's fun.
Wow. Tami, we hear the words more often now, generational trauma. It even talks about that in the Bible. People who believe in the Bible, curses to the 7 times 7 or something like that. Could you address that and what does that mean and how does that apply in what you do?
I believe that within our DNA, our body just holds memory. And so if the individuals, your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents had an experience, they connected an emotion to it, and then it was stored genetically within your DNA. And we've done lots of research with mice on giving them certain experiences, and then the generations born after that then just have that memory, and they can then just do those things, or they're scared of that thing, but they've never actually had the physical experience of it, but it's a memory that is actually unconscious. And so they're discovering in individuals that all of a sudden have spontaneous situations, disease, mental situations that it wasn't theirs. It was either their parents' experience at that age that then spontaneously comes alive within their child, or it was a grandparent or a great-grandparent.
Wow. I remember it was a TV show. I think it was 20 years ago I saw it, but there was a 5-year-old girl who was painting like a seasoned artist. Would you say that things like that, it might have something to do with that, where they have some skill that they're born with? Or is that just genetics without generational stuff? What would you say about that?
Yeah, actually, in human design, this is why I love that system so much. I can see part of what I believe are your spiritual gifts. The divine design within you that only you have. And so in human design, that system is here to show us how we're designed to be different. And so I can see your energy patterns, your spiritual gifts that only you have. But I do believe within our own DNA, maybe your grandmother had a special interest in herbs and plants. And then some reason, even though your parents didn't have that, you still have it within you. And now you're energetically drawn to go learn about it. And it comes to you with ease and grace. And so what if it's just a living memory within them that they're just waking back up?
And we've all heard that. Somebody will say, oh, you're just like your grandma. Or you're just like your grandpa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Either some skill or trait that they hate.
Yeah. And actually in human design, we believe that you inherit part of your grandparents' charts. You're here to relive and learn about different experiences so that you can then share that information and wisdom differently through your own perceptions.
I gotta trek along with baggage from my grandparents. Come on.
I mean, if you want to look at it as baggage, or it's just for you to unlock another aspect.
You know, my parents, or my mom, told me about how when my grandma was small, when she was little, like 8 years old, she was from a polygamous family. So there were 4 wives, there were a lot of kids. And Kate, my grandma, was told that she had to go outside. She had been preaching to everyone about eating your vegetables raw because they're better for you. Well, you're going to have to go outside. That noise is driving us crazy. So they made her go outside to crunch down on her vegetables.
Oh my gosh.
And these decades later, here I'm interested in nutrition and health, and I was a chiropractor. I was interested in more of the natural stuff, and I really think I got some of that from her.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. So Tami, for moms who feel like they're constantly giving energy but never getting it back, how can human design help them understand where their energy is getting drained and how to reclaim it?
Yeah, so in human design, we reference 9 energy centers, and I like to explain them like rooms in a house. The rooms in a house, like what we do in the kitchen is not what we do in the bathroom, and vice versa. So depending on, we use terminology to explain the centers that like you have consistent energetic access to as defined or close. So when you look at your human design chart and all you need is your date of birth, time of birth, and location in order to go and get your own free report, we're actually looking at what is colored in. So what is yours? But what happens is the open centers that are white, or what we call undefined, or open, that is where you breathe in other people's energy. So it's like you're an antenna. And so if you're unaware that you have one of the centers, which we call the emotional solar plexus, if you have that white inside your chart, you actually, when you come in the presence of another individual and they actually have an emotion, you feel it 200% more.
No, that would be me.
Oh my God.
So when you have children or even parents that either have a defined or open solar plexus, so I actually deal a lot with children who are really sensitive, and they're sensitive to the unseen energy. So just think of them like radio frequencies. We can't see them, but we know that they're there because we have devices that we can tune into them. Well, your body's the same thing. You have certain receptors, antennas, that you're designed to be able to take in information and then amplify it. So what are you amplifying? What are you sensing at a different level than other individuals? And so there are some people who that have an open head in ajna. I know that maybe some of your audience knows what that means and some of you don't, but in the bigger umbrella of what we're looking at is those individuals are very impressionable. They hear thoughts of other people. So just think of all of the thoughts that are going on in the world. These little kids say that school is too noisy. It's not the classroom that has physical noise. It is the thoughts and ideas and stories that are quietly going on in the other children's mind that some of those children can actually pick up on. And so then it's hard for them to focus because what thought is theirs? Wow. What belief, what perception is theirs? And so those individuals, I have to actually teach them, I need you to question every thought. Is it yours and do you want to keep it? And what kind of belief are you going to form from that? How do you make it usable? So, and then there's some people who are what we would consider natural medical intuitives. And so the open spleen, those individuals are medical intuitives. And so they actually can physically feel people's bodily sensations in theirs. So that is part of my gift. My gift is I can actually physically feel what's physically going on in your body and the sensations that you have. And so I have to be mindful. I have to be mindful of when I go into a store with all these individuals that if I didn't walk in with a headache and I walk out with a headache, it's probably not mine. And I just need to give myself time and understand the energy hygiene tools that I need to be able to use in order to allow myself not to hang on to it, not to store it.
Tami, how old were you when you realized that was happening?
When I was putting myself through college, I attended Boise State University and I was a waitress. And so when I was waiting on tables, I just felt like I was picking up on information. When I actually was a young child, I grew up on a beautiful ranch in Cambridge, Idaho. My grandfather owned the ranch. We actually lived, my father and my mother, we lived in town. And so we were always out there helping my grandfather and my grandmother.
Oh my gosh, that's a beautiful place up there.
Oh, yes. I was very blessed to be able to grow up inside that community. And but what that actually gifted me was sometimes we would have a calf that was born that had issues, sometimes tremors or couldn't stand or couldn't feed. And I would secretly go out into the pen and place my hand on it. And what I called it is I would sift through the files of this animal. And I would try to distinguish what pattern was off and listen to what it needed. And then I would come out of its system and then communicate that just well, what if dad, what if grandpa, we did X, Y, and Z, and in order to be able to help it. So I kept this a secret for 40 years. When I was in like school, I'd ask my friends, can you ever just exit your body and go into someone else's body? And
they looked at you like,
yeah, exactly. They're like, what? No. So I thought, okay, so nope. Don't tell anyone that is what's going on. But what is this? What are these things that I can feel and know? And if I can just pick up on the sequence of it and then attach it to what it means, like a chair is a chair because we gave it the word. And so what happened was I was waiting tables and my manager she sensed that there was something different about me and just asked me to go scan a woman at a table that I was taking their order. And I was like, I don't even know what that means. What do you mean by scan? She's like, just go tune in. And I went, oh yeah, tune in. I used to do that all the time. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna go tune into this woman's body. So as I'm taking her order, I allowed my essence, my attention to go to her body. And I just asked it, what information do you have to share with me? And I was drawn to her right breast. And I heard the word cancer. And so I was like, okay, well, I have nothing to lose. I went back to my manager and I said, she has cancer in her right breast. And my manager goes, very good. She just found out yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And so that is where
you were in your 20s?
I was in my 20s. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. What a gift. What a gift.
But I didn't find out about human design, that beautiful system, until my 40s. And when I found out and looked at my human design, that's when I was like, oh, there's the confirmation of why I can do what I do and why it comes and goes. So the open centers where we can amplify our gifts, it's not where we have consistent ability until we learn how to be consistent with it.
And Tami, you mentioned right after we started that there was like a free scan or something where they could find out where the different colors are and what their skills are.
Yes. So you're talking about their own human design blueprint. I like to call it your fingerprint.
Yeah.
It's your energetic fingerprint because it's 1 in 7 million before you're going to find a chart like yours. And we're measuring the neutrinos that were in the air when you took your first breath and 88 days prior to your birth. So this is very detailed information. And so they can actually go to my website and there is a little link that says free chart. And all I have to do is click on that and they can actually put in their information and get their own free chart.
How cool.
Now, it doesn't give their spiritual gifts. They will have to reach out to me in order for me to be able to share that with them. But it's a great beginning.
Yeah. What is your website? And we'll have links to the show too.
Yeah. So it's www.mylovelydesign.com.
Lovely. Not to get personal about anybody's stuff, but what are some really memorable moments with some people that have come to you and were puzzled and, their whole life was troublesome and you were able to pinpoint or pick up on something? I'm sure you have a few of those. Could you tell us at least one of those?
Yeah, even recently I have a client who is struggling with driving. And it's really hard for them to just even physically drive themselves around. And they need to. You can just imagine how isolating that could feel like if one day you could drive and then all of a sudden you have all of this fear. What happens when I see clients is I just want them to share, about 15 minutes of what's going on. Your body is what we're trying to tune into is your intention. And so she shared about the driving that she wanted to make sure just to bring attention to it. Like what's going on inside of my body that's creating this? And so as she's sharing the story, I could feel that even though she can see, there is too much information coming in through her eyes that her brain cannot filter. And then it's actually making her blind. So too much information, right? And so if the input is too much, you don't know what to focus on. Do I focus on the road? Do I focus on that tree? Do I focus on that next car? Too much input. So I asked her, when you drive, do you feel like you're floating? Like you can't actually physically attach to anything? And she said yes. So then she got on the table, and I do a lot of muscle testing with the body, connecting to the autonomic nervous system and letting the body just guide me through yes or no questioning. And so it really was just discovering that her brain was disconnected from her body. And so I needed to get into the spine and her filtering system. And it's kind of like, just turn the circuit off and back on. Like, right, let's reboot you. And so I'm just so happy to say after that session, and obviously it's not, I don't ever think it's just one thing, right? This individual is working hard. She's having the awareness around it. She's doing the work. But in that energy session, right after that, she was able to drive home, go get her husband, get him in the car, and then drive back and around the city. She was just amazed. And so that's just an example of when you let your inner physician do the work and you listen to the wisdom of your own body and its own clues, I think that it can help us rearrange those patterns that are getting in our way.
My mind automatically went to that woman who couldn't drive, going through the medical system, and how absolutely frustrating that would have been, and life-altering had she not found you. You know, what are they going to do? Well, take an Uber.
Yeah. Or medicate her. Yeah.
Some kind of medication.
Yeah.
Would you go through what a session looks like from intake, what types of forms, what types of information do they need to give you? And then, of course, you can do everything through telehealth or remotely, correct?
I can. Yes, absolutely. The beautiful thing is, what I do love about this work is actually people don't need to tell me anything, because your body holds the key and the wisdom, and it really does want to talk. And so there are some individuals that come in and cannot share their story because it's too much, it's too fresh, it's too raw. And I always give them permission that it's okay. You don't have to actually come in and talk about anything. Your body will. You just hold the intention of what you desire, and your body will communicate it. I trust the body. It's not that I trust me, I trust it. So that's the cool thing, is if you don't want to tell me anything, that's absolutely okay too. I don't need to hear the story, but I do pick up on information when you just share a little bit. We can see where you're coming from when it comes from your perception. But really, I do love to work with a system of human design. So if you're willing to share that information with me, I can actually see just patterns that are normal for you to go through, and what is like your ability to sense, what questions you need to be asking yourself. And so when you come in to see me, that's really all I need and request from individuals is knowing your intention, getting the chart information details so we can run your human design. But it's okay. I often don't even run that for people. Your body will communicate to me sometimes where there is a system or a gate that is getting in your way when it comes to the pattern of how you're expressing it. And then if your body does communicate like that to me, I will then run your chart. And sure enough, they usually will have that gate, and that's the thing that they're actually struggling with. So then I can go a little bit deeper into what that actually means. And most of the time we're just looking for our ability to connect the dots for them.
You know what? And that's got to be really comforting for a lot of people to know, because it's some of the things they have, having dealt with people with, brain issues in my former practice, they don't want to talk about it.
Mm-mm.
It's too painful. And that's wonderful that you don't have to have that information.
So, Tami, I would love to hear a little bit about your work with teenagers. I think this would be fascinating to get inside, the heart and soul of teenagers. I have an 18-year-old daughter, so that comes with a lot of, amazing challenges. So I think this would be great insight into teenagers.
Yeah, and I actually just developed a 12-week program, and it is free for kids that are 18 to 25 that want to have like self-mastery. So we go deeper into their charts, into really understanding who they really are, because human design isn't supposed to put you into a box. It's here to show you that avatar, that game piece that you came to play, and then for you to transcend it. So let's go beyond our software system. And so kids like that, I just want to give them confirmation and validation that who they are is okay, and give them permission to be who they are, and then give them the tools and skills in order to build their resiliency, their capacity to know in the moment when their nervous system has been hijacked, and how to get back to neutral, how to get back to base, but why? So what is happening? Why is it happening? And then how do we go about shifting that within ourselves so that we have more control, and where our outer experiences don't shift our inner environment?
Wow, how powerful is that? Because if a teenager doesn't know really who they are, they don't know themselves, how can they choose or decide what they want in a partner? I think if early on kids could understand, who am I? What do I really like? What do I want? Then they're going to be much more likely to have a longer term relationship once they do decide, or, come together or get married or whatever they do, and not have to discover who they are by making mistakes with, marrying the wrong person that didn't really, nurture that part of me that I needed. So that,
yeah, I think that is that's a great question, because I truly believe that's what human design gifts you. I think most of us actually know who we are, but we're too busy seeking validation and looking outside of us rather than looking for the things to confirm what it is that we already know. And so I think human design helps people remember. A lot of the times I don't feel like I'm telling you anything new, but I'm confirming what it is that you innately knew to be you, but the world was asking something different from you. And so you thought that you were wrong, like who I am is wrong. And so children and adults tend to cloak themselves rather than being that full optimal expression of who they came here to be. And so I feel like what I do is give people permission slips. So if I can give children permission slips and understand who they really are and get them to remember, this is you. And so let's be okay and let go of the narratives that have been spoken into them about who they are is wrong. And so it's really about just allowing them to know that it's normal. It's normal to think like this. It's normal to feel like this, because it actually is within your design. It's within your programming.
Yeah, on that topic, I think a lot of kids get into their teenage years and they get into the times when they would get married. And if through their entire childhood, they're denying because of pressure from somebody else, they aren't allowed to be themselves, and then they get out, and like we said a little bit earlier, now they're with the wrong person. I did that. I didn't have a really nurturing mother, and so I married someone who was a nurturing mother. That was my first spouse, and I'm married to my mom. Whoops. And then I had to discover things later that helped me be who I am, and then attract the right person to me. But how many times do people go through that, denying who they really are? But I think it's really great that you help them do that. So you have this free course for teenagers where they can do that. How do they do that? How do they go about doing that, Tami?
Yeah, just reach out to me through my website and or email, and I go from there. So this is a new program, so we're trying it out. I don't want to do anything just to be busy. I really want to make sure that this work is impactful and serving them in the way that I desire. So I'm taking actually my first group through the 12 weeks to see what needs to be shifted or redefined. But in the future, I really do hope this continues and ripples out and makes an impact with those individuals, because I was a struggling teenager. That's actually what led me upon this path, is me struggling at the age of 14 mentally. And I knew that there has to be a way in order to help individuals like this. So you can either do this program in person or you can do it online. So yeah.
I love that. So I put in so last night I was on your website and I put in my information, and then I did my daughter's information, and I thought, oh my gosh, how different it was to see the two.
There's actually, in human design, there is a gate. So our unconscious design Mars is there's a gate and a line that actually tells me the core wound that was gifted to you in the womb of your mother.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah. And so that is the one thing that through my program, I teach them what their core wound is. And you have to understand, if it's your core wound, it's going to show up in your relationships. And so I think the most important relationship that we're ever going to have is the one that we have with ourselves, because everything then is a ripple effect or a mirror of that. And so if I can teach you what your core wound is and what you came here to unlock and experience that your mother could not, I mean, honestly, it was gifted to you for a reason. So this is what you came here to go through and experience. And if you can understand that, that is the very thing that then you can then help others with.
And we see that a lot with healthcare practitioners, the very thing that they're the most passionate about. Like the doctor yesterday had a brother who had severe issues, problems, cerebral palsy, all kinds of things, and that made him passionate about helping kids as a chiropractor.
And so that's the thing that I think human design gives us. It a lot of times when I'm doing like couple readings and helping people with their relationship with one another, most men will start like looking around the room, like, and I'll ask them like, "What are you doing there?" Well, is there a camera in here? How do you know this about me? How do you know that that's my pattern? And so my thing is like, it was given to you. So a lot of people will say in the communities that we often hear is our traumas shaped us. And I actually would like to push back against that and say, no, you shaped your traumas due to the lenses you were gifted when you were born. That's why families can go through the same exact situation, the same traumatic event, but then come out of it with different perspectives, because they were given different perceptions. And those are what I consider the gates inside of your human design, which I call them the windows in your rooms. So those 9 rooms that we kind of talked about earlier, which are centers, well, in all of those centers, those rooms, there are windows. And the gates that you have, those windows are open, and you're peering through your world through that. And so a lot of times in my office, when I'm talking to children or just young adults or my clients, I'll be like, if you were to look out that window, what would you tell me you could see? Oh, I could see, bogus and the mountains, and I see lights and I see traffic, and the world is so busy. And then I go, well, now go look out that window and go tell me what you see. Well, I see the river and the trees, and I see people playing and walking, and I see animals. Now, are your perceptions wrong? You're just looking out at 2 different perspectives. And so that's what I think a lot of us are doing, which then creates the duality and the polarity and the fighting that goes on. It's like, is anyone really wrong? We just have different perspectives.
So you asked for openness.
There are centers within them. Well, actually, let's just start with the type, because that's what it's going to give you, the type and the profile. What is her type?
Okay,
Is
so her
she
type is alchemist, a generator?
okay? So she's a generator, and so she must be pure. So she is what we consider sacral. Right below her type, what it says alchemist, there's going to be profile lines. There's 2 numbers, like a 1, 3, 6, 2, 4, 6,
So
3, 5. So just by looking at this, we can go over this, just give you some aspects on how to help her. So she's actually an emotional generator. The reason why I say emotional is because off to that right-hand side, you're going to see that yellow colored in center. That's the solar plexus. And so when you said that your daughter's an empath, how she's actually breathing in the aspects of other people when her energy meets them is actually through that diamond-shaped white center in the middle that only has one gate defined, which is gate 2. And that's actually where she can feel people. And that's me too. That's where I can feel people, is right in the heart center. And so she breathes in, and she's very impressionable. So it's very wise for her to be mindful and discerning on who she surrounds herself with, because her gift is being able to be a chameleon. Her gift is being able to be whatever that individual needs her to be in the moment. And so she also can develop her ability to be a medical intuitive. Off to the left-hand side, that triangle that is white, that's what we consider the spleen. And so that spleen then tells me, because that's your instincts, that's your body awareness. And so she does have that ability, and her lenses are through gate 44 and 32. So she will naturally look to the past to know what she does not want to relive or live again. And so sometimes those individuals that are constantly looking into the past will struggle with depression because they keep reliving those moments over and over and over. Gate 32 tells me she's an individual that naturally wants to make sure things have their place. Details that she is what I consider a prepper. She makes, in order to help her with her anxiety and distress, is make sure you give her the details. She's one that she wants to make sure that she looks at everything to make sure that she hit every possibility, because gate 32 is also in her sun position on her soul purpose life, which is 70% of her expression. So we consider that is the thing that she came here to do. It's physical, it's masculine energy, it's the thing that she's here to be good at it. She's a 2-4. So in her profile, the 2-4 then is the costume. So what is her flavor? So we're all different flavors of, let's consider like ice cream. So she's like mint chocolate chip. So let's let her be mint chocolate chip. So one, I know she's a kid that needs a lot of alone time. And she's going to learn more on her own rather than with other people. So she's going to want to take that book, that course, be taught in school, and then through her alone time, go and digest it so she knows how to play with it. I know that she's going to grow, and what she needs is a community. And that's through her profile 4. So for her, she needs to learn how to balance her alone time within her interactions with the community that she either creates or discovers. But that's how she's going to grow, because the 4s are opportunists. They're never satisfied with who they were yesterday, and so they want to expand, they want to grow. And I have a child who is a 4-6, and so how that shows up in his life, he loves cars. He's going to go and buy a car, and then within several months he's going to see that, oh my gosh, I can sell that car for $3,000 more, so I'm going to go sell it and then go get another one. And for me, I'm like, no, we already know that's not a limit. Let's just keep it. That feels safe to me. But that's not who he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be allowing himself to meet that next opportunity. But it's not through strangers. It's through who he knows. So I know as a mom, I'm going to try to introduce him to those connections, those people that I know that he needs to be connected to. So your daughter is what we consider the profile 2-4. So she has this internal wisdom genius about what she knows that she needs to do today. Now, she might not be consistent because that gate is showing up in a center that is undefined, meaning she's not consistent with it. But as long as your daughter is doing what she loves, she has unlimited amounts of energy. So she's one of the types that I would consider an energy type. So those are generators and manifesting generators. And those individuals are here to physically manifest their creativity. They're here to work. They're here to go out and master whatever it is that their attention just is always on. And so I want them to do that. I don't want them to do their must, their shoulds, the I better, I ought to. Because when you're doing that, you turn off your internal GPS. You turn off your innate energy that is here to make your body move. So let's just then go wider with that. If 70% of our population are generators and manifesting generators, and they're not doing what they love, they don't have enough energy for their body to physically allow them to be well.
Oh, wow.
That's an energy deficiency. And so sometimes when I'm working with manifesting generators and generators, the first thing I want to look at is their vitality. Where are you not showing up authentically in your life and doing what you love? Because you're here to follow the glimmers that just light you up and do more of that. And so the other thing that I would love to point out for your daughter is knowing that she has an emotional wave. When you're an emotional type, I am also an emotional projector. And I actually have the same wave as her. And so we will always have a high and we will always have a low. But through understanding how long our wave lasts, because her innate ability, because your inner authority, which hers is emotional, it is the way for her to stay in alignment with what is correct for her. A lot of us are going up into our minds, our heads, and trying to find the answer when the body is there to guide us. And so her feelings, through yes or no questioning, because she's a generator, is here to give her greater guidance on what is for her and what is not for her. It's not about judging. It's not right or wrong, because what might be right for me might be wrong, might be not in alignment for her. So if we can get out of judging it and just knowing, does this light me up? Is this for me or not for me? Does this expand me or constrict me? So for her, knowing how long her emotional wave lasts, knowing that she needs alone time, when she doesn't get enough alone time, she's going to explode. And so how much alone time do I need so that when I go back into community, I'm not pouring from an empty cup? I actually have the vitality, the energy, the essence to then go a little bit deeper and allow myself to be able to express the wisdom and knowledge that I'm here to share with my own community. And so it's knowing the highs and the lows. And so she actually, I often say emotional beings don't actually know in the moment. We know if it's in the moment what we want to do, but most of the time we're never asked in the moment to do something. It's like, in 2 weeks, do you want to do X, Y, and Z? Well, for your daughter, that's hard for her to know, because she doesn't know where her energy is going to be until that day arrives. And so how we transcend that is when someone asks me to do something, I will always say, let me get back to you on that. Let me look at my schedule. Even though innately I know my schedule, but I need to give myself the time and space to get to the high part of my wave and the low part of my wave, get back to neutral to know 80% certainty of if I can actually do it. Now, she does have a defined will center. She actually does have all 4 motor centers. So even though she maybe innately doesn't have the energy, she can tap into her willpower and push herself through it. But I would want to guide her in, let's not tap into our will center. Let's innately get into our own wisdom, whether or not this is an alignment for us, and if you want to actually meet that opportunity. And so through the quality of her thinking, she will actually raise her baseline. Her highs will get higher and her lows won't be so low. And then she can learn how to play with being in neutral and giving herself permission that it's okay that sometimes I have the energy and sometimes I don't. And having that defined root center like she does, she can be really good at procrastinating. But because of the gate that she has, I know that she needs stillness. Mm-hmm. Stillness in order for her to be able to find what it is that she wants to place her attention on, her focus. So that then she can physically manifest that into the world. And she's all about details. So I would tell you as a mother, please give her all the information that she needs in order for her body to feel safe.
This is fascinating. And you know, what's interesting.
I was going to say, I don't really know Bella that well, but my perception of her was that.
This is spot
in so
on.
Many ways.
It's spot on. She taught herself French, self-taught. Everything that you said about her is spot on. If we are out and we go to Tampa or we go somewhere for a while, usually when we get in the car, her and my husband, they're both, okay, we're peopled out. They both need alone time. Completely opposite of me. I don't like to be alone. The only time I'm alone is when I go running because nobody wants to run with me. But what you said about my daughter is like I said, it's very, very spot on.
Yeah. And I could imagine having this information as a parent could be really useful when it comes to parenting. Absolutely.
Yes.
As a parent, something like this would be incredibly valuable for me. I want to get a session with you and dive into my human design. And then I want to, definitely dive into my daughter's, because as a parent, this would be very useful. How to navigate, you think, oh, they're just teenagers. That's who they are. Mm-hmm. But what to say to them, just like you said, giving Bella a lot of details. We have Sunday meetings we have family meetings every Sunday, and she loves the details. So that's something that we've tapped into, but that's because that's me. I plan out everything. She gets that part from me. So what if I wasn't like that? You know what I mean? I wouldn't have known to give her those details. So I think this is fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, also for couples, not just parents and kids, couples trying to navigate through, that's not what I think.
Yeah. And I actually use it a lot inside my business. So I also teach business classes, relationship classes, self-mastery classes with this aspect of getting you to understand. Like even with your daughter, I can see her greatest challenge is learning how to finish her projects. Mm-hmm. Her greatest challenge is learning how to tie it up. And so you can see that. And so if we can get her to meet those challenges, and then I can see what is going to actually create radiancy and vitality and attraction for her. I love using this chart for my business. That's actually how my business spontaneously developed. Back in 2020, before this career, I was a traveling artist, which gifted me the ability to, one, learn that there was never any mistake. Because every time I thought that I made a mistake on one of my home decor pieces, somebody else would then come in and go, oh my gosh, that was perfect. That's exactly what I needed. Even if there was a misspelling, and you would think logically that if you misspell a word, then you cannot sell that piece. But people would giggle and laugh and go, that's actually how I say it. That's perfect for me. And so I knew that I had happy accidents that were actually for someone else to come in because it was for them. It wasn't for me. And so I did that for 20 years. And then in March of 2020, when all my shows got canceled, was when this system, human design, came into my life. And when I read my own body graph, I probably wept for about 4 hours going, finally, something that makes sense. Because my design is different, it's rare, it's unique, and people were telling me how to do business, and I knew in my soul that was wrong, that wasn't how I was supposed to be showing up. I was actually using words like, why do I always wait for the invitation? And when I wait for the invitation, why does it magically work? Well, I'm a projector. That is how my energy is designed to be seen. And that is my strategy. I have to wait for the doors to open. I have to wait for someone to be ready and to recognize me for the wisdom that I need to share so that I'm efficient with it. And so that's why I had a beautiful 20-year career. But when all my shows got canceled and this system came in, I knew immediately that, wow, this resonates at such a level. And it impacted me in such a way that other people noticed. And when they noticed, they asked, like, what did you do? And then I just started sharing this freely with individuals. And I said, let's pull up your chart and let's see what I can see. And in 5 minutes, how can we just look at something differently and redirect your life, maybe realign it or put different steps in? And that's actually how my business got developed. Was another practitioner was so thankful of what I gifted her in about 15 minutes that she actually started sending me clients. And then that is actually how my private practice started.
From COVID.
From the gift of COVID. Yes.
The gift that keeps
yes.
on giving. Yeah. This has been so great, Tami. I'm so fortunate. I feel fortunate to have you on and really understand. And then looking at Bella's, hearing you interpret that is so powerful. And every person, every couple needs to do that to be able to understand. That's probably worth 5 years of counseling.
Oh my gosh, at least.
Don't you think, Tracey?
At least. Yes, I want to get into this a lot more. I'm very, very intrigued by this. Like I said, I've been looking forward to this conversation for a while, so I've loved every second.
Yeah, me too. And then when both Tracey and I come in and you do ours, then we'll have something to report, and then we can do another video like this. That would be great.
I think we totally should.
And absolutely. I think you'll have people who have seen the first one, and then they'll go, "Whoa, I need to watch this one as well."
Yeah, there's a part of me that I would love to just do this live for people. Like, just get your chart. Let's pull it up. Like, what can we see in 15 minutes that you can take away and run with it?
Oh, I love that.
Be a great benefit. I mean, I've said for a long time, even at being a parent, you don't even have to take a class to have a baby. And nobody knows what to do unless they had good modeling, parental modeling. And no wonder we have so many problems with kids. But if a person could understand themselves, then they're going to be a better parent. They're going to be a better partner. So this is really important information, I think, for everybody. Yeah,
I think that what it did for me and the individuals like in my own family is release the shame and guilt that you have around like how you want to be in this world. And it gave me the freedom to let my kids and my husband, give them permission just to be them. I know why my husband says this or does that. And I no longer shame him or guilt him or judge him for what is naturally his and his gift and the way that he's here to express it.
And if we know that about a partner, then the way he said that or she said that, it's not going to trigger us because we understand why. That makes so much sense.
It totally does.
Or even if it does trigger you, allowing you to then have the space and the responsibility and the accountability. So like for me, having that emotional wave and my husband having that open solar plexus, I need to hold myself to greater responsibility for the emotions that I bring into the room and then give my husband permission to not fix it. Like, it's okay if I come in with the energy of frustration. Like, let me know that I can shift it, but at the same time, maybe I need to shift it before I enter the room so that he doesn't feel like he's done something wrong.
Sounds like relationships by design.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Wow. Tami, thank you so much for taking the time on your Saturday. This has been great with the interview, and we got to see Bella's chart. There's more to come, everybody, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I love having conversations like this. This is so fun for me.
Tami, thank you for showing up with so much clarity, truth, and grounded power. This conversation wasn't just insightful, it's the kind of work that changes how people move through life. Dr. Harmon and I are truly honored that you spent this time with us today, sharing your expertise, your heart. Listeners, if you've felt seen, understood, or finally able to put words to patterns you've lived with for years, here's your next step. You can work directly with Tami through My Lovely Design. She offers remote human design readings and transformational sessions, so no matter where you are, you can access her work. This is for people who are ready to stop forcing themselves into systems that don't fit. Understand how they're wired to make decisions, regulate nervous system, and move forward with clarity and self-trust. All of her information will be in our show notes. Until next time, stay grateful, stay grounded.
Thanks for tuning in to Root Cause Holistic Health. We're here to help you uncover what's really going on and empower you to take the next step in your healing journey.
Whether you're a mom, a dad, or just someone ready to stop settling for Band-Aid fixes, we hope today's episode gave you something to think about.
If you found this episode valuable, do us a favor, share it with someone you love, and leave a review so we can reach more families like yours.
Make sure to hit follow so you don't miss next week's episode. We've got more honest conversations, practical tips, and root cause wisdom coming your way.
Until next time, stay grounded, stay curious, and most of all, stay connected to what truly matters.
We'll see you next time on Root Cause Holistic Health.